Hello, this is the solutions video, AP Calculus, section 2.4a, using the chain rule, page 137 through 29 odd. I was able to get the first four up here on my whiteboard. So number 7, y is equal to 2x minus 7 cubed. So getting y prime, bring that 3 out front, times 2x minus 7 squared, and then times the derivative of the blob, that inner function. So that would be times 2. 2 times 3 is 6, so this is how you should clean it up. 6 times 2x minus 7 all squared. Number 9, we have g of x is equal to 3 times 4 minus 9x all to the 4th power. 4 times 3 is 12. Times 4 minus 9x, then we subtract 1, 4 down to 3, times the derivative of the blob. The derivative of 4 minus 9x, 4 is 0, and then this would be negative 9. So times negative 9. Negative 9 times 12 is negative 108, times 4 minus 9x, all cubed. All right, number 11, f of x is 9 minus x squared to the 2/3 power. So we bring the 2/3 out front. Times 9 minus x squared, 2/3 minus 1, or minus 3/3 is negative 1/3. Times the derivative of the blob, that's going to be negative 2x. So negative 2x times 2 would leave you a negative 4x on top, and then the 3 would go in the denominator. So 3 times 9 minus x squared, make that to the positive 1/3. So I'd like to see the answer to get full credit cleaned up like this. Make your exponents positive. Number 13, f of t is the square root of 1 minus t. Let's rewrite that as 1 minus t to the 1/2 power. So bring the 1/2 out front, times 1 minus t. Going to subtract 1 from 1/2. That'd be the negative 1/2. Students, then forget this part, all right? Times the derivative of the blob. The derivative of 1 minus t is going to be negative 1. So you'd have negative 1 left on top, the 2 would go down on the bottom, and then 1 minus t to the positive 1/2. It's prettier to make it into just a square root, but I am fine if you just would do this 1 minus t to the 1/2 power. Either way is fine with me. Okay, let's see what else we can get on the whiteboard here. Okay, number 13. Let's see, did we do 13? 15, excuse me. So 15 is y is equal to the cube root of 9x squared plus 4. Ooh. Okay, let's rewrite that as 9x squared plus 4 to the 1/3 power. All right, now y prime is going to be, bring that 1/3 out front, times 9x squared plus 4. The exponent would be minus 2/3 if you subtract 1. Don't forget times the derivative of the blob, that would be times 18x. So cleaning this up, we'd have 18x on top over 3 times 9x squared plus 4 to the 2/3. We could improve upon that because 18 over 3 is 6. So you just have 6x on top over 9x squared plus 4 to the 2/3 power. So that is the best way to write it. Okay, 17. We've got y is equal to 2 times the square root of 4 minus x squared. So that's the same thing as 2 times 4 minus x squared to the 1/2 power. So y prime half times 2 is just 1. I'll write the 1. So 1/2 times 2 is 1 times 4 minus x squared to the negative 1/2 power times the derivative of the blob, that'd be negative 2x. So cleaning this up, we would have negative 2x on top over the square root of 4 minus x squared. And again, it's completely fine if you do 4 minus x squared to the 1/2 power. Most math teachers typically like to see that radical if it's a 1/2 power. All right, 19. 19, we have y is equal 1 over x minus 2. Well, let's rewrite that as x minus 2 to the negative 1 power. That's the same thing. Now, we could do a quotient rule here, but it's kind of a mess. It's really easier to rewrite like this, and you can do the chain rule. So y prime, and that will come in really handy when we're doing some word problems in Chapter 3. So bring that negative 1 out front times x minus 2 to the minus 2 times the derivative of the blob, which is just 1. So this is going to be, if we make that positive, a negative 1 on top over x minus 2 all squared. All right, great. Okay, number 21. We've got f of t is equal to 1 over t minus 3 all squared. Well, that's the same as 1 squared over t minus 3 squared. You can just square each component. Okay, and 1 squared is just 1, so that's the same as t minus 3 to the negative 2 power. Just bring that up top. And now it's an easy chain rule. That's negative 2 times t minus 3 to the negative 3. And then the derivative of t minus 3 is just 1. So the derivative of the blob is 1. So that's going to be the negative 2 would stay on top, and then t minus 3 all cubed. So rewriting these and using the chain rule makes it so much easier. All right, 23. We have y is equal to 1 over the square root of x plus 2. Well, that's the same thing as x plus 2. So this is x plus 2 to the 1/2, right? So if we brought it up top to the negative 1/2. So y prime is going to be negative 1/2 times x plus 2. Well, what's negative 1/2 minus 1? Negative 1/2 minus 2/2 would be negative 3/2, right? So negative 3/2 times the derivative of the blob, this inner function, which is just 1. So that's going to be negative 1, because that negative 1 here stays on top, times 2 over, 2 times x plus 2 to the positive 3/2 power. All right, moving right along. So 25, I think I can get that in here. So 25 is f of x is equal to x squared times x minus 2 to the 4th power. Okay, this is going to be a product rule and a chain rule. So this is the first, x squared, times the derivative of the second. Okay, so times 4 times x minus 2 cubed Bring the 4 out front. X minus 2, subtract 1. The derivative of the BLOP is 1. Now I'm going to write it in here for illustrative purposes, but you don't have to. So that's the first times derivative of the second plus the second, x minus 2 to the fourth, times the derivative of the first, 2x. So cleaning this up, we've got that 4 and that x squared, so it's 4x squared times x minus 2 cubed plus 2x times x minus 2 to the fourth. And that is perfectly acceptable way to the book. Who knows what the book does? They probably factor out a x minus 2 all cubed, but you do not have to take it that far. This is perfectly fine for me on a test. All right. Two more to go. 27. So we have y is equal to x times the square root of 1 minus x squared. That's the same thing as x times 1 minus x squared to the 1/2 power. Okay, we've got a product rule and then a chain rule. So y prime is going to be the first x times the derivative of the second. That's 1/2 times 1 minus x squared to the negative 1/2. And then don't forget the derivative of the BLOP. That'd be negative 2x. I had a student just last year that just constantly forgot that, and that's a major issue. So first times the derivative of the second plus the second 1 minus x squared to the 1/2 times the derivative of x, which is just 1. Okay, let's clean it up. All right, on top, I'm going to have, first of all, this 2 and this 2 will cancel. So that 2 and that 2 will cancel. So I've got the negative x squared on top over 1 minus x squared to the 1/2. So we'll write it as the square root of 1 minus x squared plus the square root of 1 minus x squared. Now the book probably will get a common denominator and do all sorts of nasty stuff, but this is perfectly fine with me. You can leave it just like this and don't combine those two terms like the book does. All right, and 29, we have y is equal to x over the square root of x squared plus 1. Okay, let's rewrite that as x over x squared plus 1 to the 1/2 power. So we've got a quotient rule and then a chain rule. So y prime is going to be the bottom, x squared plus 1 to the 1/2, times the derivative of the top, which is just 1, minus the top, x, times the derivative of the bottom, 1/2, times x squared plus 1 to the minus 1/2, times, don't forget, 2x, all over x squared plus 1 to the 1/2 squared. Well, if you square that, it's just going to be x squared plus 1. Right? If you square root of x squared plus 1, the radical lifts, right? So you just get x squared plus 1. All we need to do is clean up the top here. So I've got, and again, you can leave it as 1/2, but I'm going to write square root of x squared plus 1. I'm sorry, my marker's getting fatter and fatter as I keep. These two cancel. And so I would have minus x over the square root of x squared plus 1 all over x squared plus 1. All right, so I tell you what, so that is one way to do it. But I think I'm going to show you another way to do it that's better. Okay, so this would be a correct answer. How about instead of let's try to avoid the quotient rule and write it as x times x squared plus 1 to the minus 1/2. What if we wrote it that way? It's the same thing. Now we have a product rule and we don't have that stupid monster fraction. So I've got the first, x times the derivative of the second, negative 1/2, times x squared plus 1 to the negative 3/2 times 2x. So first times the derivative of the second, plus the second, x squared plus 1 to the negative 1/2 times the derivative of the first, which is just 1. So here, you know, I got the 2 that cancels there, the 2 that cancels there. So I would have x times x, that'd be x squared over x squared plus 1 to the 3/2 plus 1 over x squared plus 1 to the 1/2. All right, and I would be totally, and I forgot the negative there. Oops. So there's a negative right there. So it'd be negative. And I would be totally fine with that. You do not have to do a common denominator like the book would and put those two together. So I think that's the easier way to do that for the future. But you could do it either way. And even though the answers look different, they actually were the same, just in different forms. So that's it for this solutions video, and I'll talk to you next lecture.